Hi and welcome to today's lesson. In today's lesson, we will be learning about the process approach to writing. Well, you may use two approaches while attempting any sort of writing. It could be the process approach to writing, or it could be the product approach to writing. Let's understand what is meant by process approach to writing. In process approach to writing, writing is carried out in steps or in stages, namely pre-writing, drafting, revision, editing, and lastly, publishing. Well, if I ask you that you're supposed to attempt writing in a single attempt, so it could be difficult for you, or sometimes it could be impossible for you. So, what is needed? So it is needed that when you are writing, give yourself time, let your writing pass through stages, pass through steps, and finally you will be in a position to create a product in the end. So in today's class, I will be elaborating the process approach to writing, and I will be discussing about the 5 stages you are supposed to uh, include in your writing, or you're supposed to follow the 5 steps when you are carrying out any writing task. So let's move to the computer screen. So I will be elaborating these 5 steps.
Welcome back. This is part 2 of the lesson based on the process approach of writing. If you are new to this channel, I must remind you regarding the previous lesson on writing, which was supposed to be the foundation or the basics of writing. Now, this lesson is going to be a little lengthier as I will be explaining in depth and thoroughly explaining the process approach of writing. I must suggest you to watch it till the end if you do want to know the complete detail about the process approach of writing. So, without much ado, let's get started. All right. As I mentioned in the introduction that the process approach of writing, a writer carries the writing in stages or in steps. So the 5 stages you need to follow, you need to consider when applying the process approach of writing. So, what are the 5 stages? The pre writing, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. So, let's individually discuss them in detail. The first step, pre writing. Uh, it's also called the invention stage. But let's first talk about pre writing. So, pre means before, it's a prefix, and writing means writing. So, what we are supposed to do with what we are supposed to consider before starting writing or before carrying out the writing task. So, let's talk about these points. So, the first thing you're supposed to do is to think about your topic, think about your audience. I must remind you that these are very important things you need to consider. The pre writing stage is actually the planning stage where you are mentally, physically getting prepared for the writing task. So, of course, the topic is very important. You need to know your topic well. And secondly, you also need to know about your audience. The more you know about your audience, the need of your audience, you are going to write properly. So, what is the need of your audience? What is your topic? You need to know before you need to take a start with your writing. So at the same time, you're supposed to decide how you're going to approach your topic. Now, this is also a very important question you need to consider in the pre-writing stage. Before you start your writing in the planning stage, you need to think about your topic, you need to think about your audience, and you need to decide how you're going to approach your topic. Now, what is meant by approaching your topic? That means that what are the different strategies that you need to take a start? For example, if you're writing an essay, you may think about how should I take a start? Shall I tell a story in the beginning? Shall I share a quotation? Shall I ask a question from the audience? So these are, I mean, the methods you are considering. So at the same time, for any sort of writing you are going to attempt, you must decide how you're going to approach your topic, or what are the best ways in which you could approach your topic, right? And then comes collecting material. Of course, this, as I mentioned in the beginning, the pre-writing is actually the preparation stage, the planning stage. So you are supposed to collect material. Now, collection of material could be done using several tools and techniques. So you are supposed to do the pre-writing. Now, in the pre-writing, we have certain techniques we do use. So there are different ways in which you could do the pre-writing. You could brainstorm, you could make a mind map, you could do some listing, you could do some free writing, and you could do clustering of ideas, right? Now, the pre-writing itself needs further explanation, and I must promise that I would be coming up with a complete lesson of what is meant by brainstorming, what is meant by mind mapping, listing, free writing, clustering. But these are some of the techniques you are supposed to utilize in the pre-writing stage, right? So now, in some cases, if your writing task is supposed to be lengthy, for example, you're going to write a book, you're supposed to write your thesis, a research paper, whatever you're going to do, a lengthy task, of course, needs research as well. So, in the pre writing stage, in some of the tasks, you may do research as well. After brainstorming, mind mapping, listing, or any of the technique that is, I mean, you are good with, uh, you are comfortable with, so you will be generating ideas. Now, the pre-writing stage, if you're using brainstorming, if you're doing mind mapping, listing, free writing, clustering, now all these techniques help you generate ideas. Now, once the ideas are generated, then you are supposed to do what? You're supposed to outline your presentation, that is making a sketch in your mind. All right, you're supposed to bring it on the paper by writing the main points. In some cases you may write the supporting details, the headings, subheadings. So you're supposed to give an outline of your writing as well. Now, for minor tasks, minor writing tasks, for example, writing a story, an essay, or whatsoever, a one page or two page task, it's very easy that you're going to, manage the main points and supporting details. But as I mentioned, if you're going to do a lengthy task, a task that is going to be long, so of course you need other details of it, for example, the headings, the possible subheadings, etc. So let's let's tell ourselves that the pre-writing, all right, is serving as a roadmap of your writing. So now, if you are on the road, possibly you could reach your destiny. So let's tell ourselves that the pre-writing stage is the preparation stage, or it is the stage where you're going to plan for your writing by collecting material. And now collecting material here could be used in the sense that you need pen, you need a piece of paper, a piece of page, or write some other stuff, or you need a desk, a table where you could sit, you need an atmosphere, okay, where you could sit, think. So it is also meant to be collecting material. So then in the pre-writing stage, of course, you might be using some techniques like brainstorming, mind mapping, listing, or free writing, doing a free writing, or you may cluster ideas, right? So any of the approach that is going to work for you, you could utilize. But the key purpose is thinking and generating ideas. This is must. All right, now let's move to the second step of writing. All right, so the second step of writing is drafting. All right. Now, I must tell you that the drafting stage, you should be, you need to be very relaxed. Of course, writing is a task we consider hard from the beginning, but I must tell you that be relaxed. Just tell yourself that I'm going to make an attempt, all right? Or I have room to improve it further. So, drafting is actually a try. You must tell yourself that it doesn't matter, I'm going to give it a try. So at the same time, you should tell yourself that it's a rough draft. Now, rough draft means that you have the room for further improvement. You could change it. Okay, you could improve it. So tell yourself it's rough, doesn't matter, I can make improvements in it, right? So this thought is very important. You need to train your mind when you are following the process approach to writing, and when you are at the second stage doing drafting, you need to be relaxed. At the same time, you need to tell yourself, I'm just going to give it a try. So doesn't matter, there could be mistakes, I have the room, I have the time to improve and fix them. All right. So don't think about perfection at this stage. It is too early. I must say that it's too early. So you don't need to think about perfection at this stage. All right. As I mentioned, that it's just a try attempt. So no perfection and not possible that you could bring perfection at this stage. So don't think about doing everything perfect on the page: spell, grammar, punctuation, word choice, cohesion, whatever. So just relax, try to attempt, just give it an attempt. So, and then let the ideas fill the page. Now, where the ideas come from the first step, where you were doing pre-writing, brainstorming, mind mapping, and creating ideas. So once the ideas are with you, you're just trying to write more about them or using them in your writing. So just let the page to be filled with ideas, right? So that is actually drafting. Now there is a note, of course, time taking. In certain tasks, as I mentioned in the first step, that certain tasks which are supposed to be lengthy, for example, writing a novel, a research paper, etc., it may take time. So the drafting may take time. You may write it, rewrite it, write it, rewrite it, add something, reduce something. So of course, in some of the key tasks, the drafting is going to take time. Doesn't matter. So the summary of the second stage of writing, the second step of writing, is drafting. Drafting is going to take time. You need to be relaxed, and you need to tell yourself that doesn't matter, I'm going to give it an attempt. So the perfection will come later. Moving to the third step. Okay, the third step is revision. I must say that this is the turning point in the process approach to writing, and very important stage. So uh, till now, I mean, the first, second stage, you were performing the role of a writer. Now you're supposed to switch your role and assume the role of reader. So it's very important. It's the turning point for you. Now, at this stage, you're supposed to drop the pen, sit quietly. You're supposed to assume the role of your reader or the role of your audience, and you're supposed to read and reread what you have written. So, at the same time, you're supposed to read critically what you have written. Now, when you are reading something critically, of course, you are going to look at the pros and cons. You are going to look what's good, what is bad, and what needs improvement. Very important for you. So, when you will be reading it, so of course you will be finding out that whether the needs of your audience are fulfilled or not, right? So it's very important for you that you should keep yourself in the shoe of your audience, and you should read it as your audience are supposed to read it. Question it as your audience are going to question it, right? So the next thing is when you will be reading, of course, you will be coming across words, phrases, and sentences which could be rearranged. You will feel that there could be repetition. You would feel that some of the words, phrases, sentences needs to be rearranged. Right. At the same time, when you will be reading, you will be feeling and you will be pointing out that, oh, somewhere giving examples is going to elaborate the meaning, or if you might feel that descriptive details are missing, and you will say, oh, I feel that there is something missing, I need to give descriptive details here. So very important for you that this stage you should read and reread it critically, find out the mistakes, find out the problems, and at the same time, fix it. So, see if the flow in your writing, if there is flow in your writing, or the ideas are connected. So, very important for you. It's not just brainstorming, pointing out some ideas and just jotting down them on the page. No, the ideas needs to be connected. When you will be reading, you will be checking out whether there is flow in your writing, whether the reader feels easy when reading and understanding your writing. So I must say that revision is an ongoing process. All right, you will revise, you will make improvements, you will write, then reread it, then correct it, find the mistakes, correct it again. So this is an ongoing process. Find if you have lost cohesion. So, as I mentioned, cohesion is related to flow of ideas. If the ideas are connected to each other, it means there is cohesion in your writing. So cohesion helps the reader go smoothly. So if the ideas are not connected together, the reader gets lost. So there remains ambiguity, barriers for the reader to understand. The next thing, check out your work revolves around the theme. Yes, of course. Sometimes it happens that we try to add so many detail and somehow we move away from our main topic. That shouldn't happen. Whatever is your theme, your thesis statement, all right. So you need to stay connected with it. Now, there's a not make your writing better at this stage. So, very important for you, as I told you, it's the turning point, the revision. You need to take or assume the role of the reader, find out the mistakes. At the same time, you should fix them. So, this is, I mean, a chance for you to bring improvements. So, you could add, take out, and replace things at this stage. Moving to the next, the fourth step is editing. All right. So once you have revised it, you do know where the um, improvement is needed. Of course, I must suggest that when you are revising, you should use a color marker and highlighter where you could indicate the needs So when rewriting, so you could edit it. So when you are doing the editing, of course, wherever are the grammatical mistakes, you're going to fix them. Capitalization, punctuation check you could make, and then somewhere you could add headers and subheaders in lengthy tasks. All right, so if you feel that the page numbers are needed, you must mention them, and check whether they make sure all the sentences are complete. All right, correct the spelling, add and remove, as I mentioned, very important at this stage. If something sounds odd, remove it out. If something is missing, add it. So adding and removing is required when you are doing the editing. So at the same time, you may check your writing by using the help of different apps. All right, or you could take help of a teacher as well. So personally, I've been using Grammarly, which is a good tool to check my checking my writing. So at this stage, after revising, you may do the editing, you may use certain tools, technology to check um, the cohesion, coherence, grammatical mistakes, punctuation mistakes. All right, so very important this stage. Once you have done with it, then comes the last stage, that is publishing. All right, now publishing means that the last thing you're supposed to do, right? So your final draft. Now, I must tell you that this is something, publishing means that it's going to be the final task. So, before reaching the final, you must tell yourself that, oh, this is the final. Okay, no chances of mistake, no room for improvement. So, I must say that when you are going to write your final draft, you should tell yourself that I must write it in the best manner possible. I need to utilize all my energy, okay, to write it perfectly possible because it's final, right? No chances of mistake. So once you have written the final draft in the best manner possible, then you're supposed to proofread it. Now, proofread means that you could find the minor mistakes like a comma somewhere missing, a period somewhere missing, all right, capitalizations, things like that. And then of course you're supposed to submit it. All right, submit it to the teacher, submit it to your examiners, submit it somewhere on the online platforms, and in some cases you're going to upload it. All right, you're supposed to send it to someone. All such tasks, research papers, and other tasks are supposed to be published as well. So before publishing, of course, proofreading is required for you. All right, I hope this is going to be an eye opener for you. You must follow these steps if you are considering that the process approach of writing is better, is it's giving you room, it's giving you time, and it's dividing the task. You are doing it in stages and you are getting energy with each stage. Instead of just jumping on the writing, you are dividing it into stages, planning, then executing it, right? So I hope this lesson uh, is going to be beneficial for you. And as I promised, I will be coming up with the third lesson, which is again going to be based on writing. So, this is going to be a playlist on writing. So, if you have watched it till the end, I must say that you need to subscribe in order to stay connected with the upcoming lessons. So, thanks for watching and bye for now.